My name is Richard. I'm 68 years old, and I'm about to tell you something that most people will never admit. Being a good person almost destroyed my life. Now I know how that sounds. Strange, maybe even wrong, because from the time we're children, we're taught one thing: be good, be kind, be helpful, be patient, be understanding. And if you do all of that, life will reward you. People will respect you, love you, stay. That's the promise. But let me ask you something. If being a good person works so well, why are so many good people tired? Why are they the ones who get ignored, overlooked, taken for granted? I used to be that man, the one who always showed up, the one who never said no, the one who helped everyone, even when it cost me something, especially when it cost me something. I thought that made me strong. I thought that made me valuable. I thought that made me worthy. But all it really did was make me easy to use. Let me tell you how it starts. It doesn't feel like weakness. It feels like purpose. People come to you with problems. You listen, you help, you fix things, and they thank you, at least in the beginning. And that feeling is addictive because for a moment you feel needed, important, respected, but slowly something changes. The gratitude fades, the expectations grow, and without even realizing it, you become the person everyone relies on, but no one truly sees. Let me tell you about my marriage, because that's where I lost myself the most. My wife used to say, "You're such a good man," and I wore that like a badge, a title, something to be proud of, so I did everything I could to live up to it. I worked more, gave more, sacrificed more. If she was upset, I fixed it. If something was wrong, I took responsibility, even when it wasn't mine. I thought that's what love was, giving endlessly. But here's the part nobody tells you. The more you give without boundaries, the less people value what you give because it becomes expected, normal, automatic. And one day you realize something that hits you like a wall. You're not appreciated, you're assumed, and there is a difference, a painful one. I remember the moment everything changed. It wasn't dramatic, no shouting, no big argument, just a quiet realization. I came home one evening after a long day, tired, exhausted, and she looked at me and said, "Can you handle this?" "No." "How was your day?" "No." "Are you okay?" "Just another task." And something inside me broke, not loudly, not visibly, but permanently, because for the first time I saw it clearly. I wasn't loved for who I was valued for what I provided, and that realization, it will either destroy you or wake you up. That realization, it didn't just stay in my marriage, it spread like a light turning on in a dark room. Suddenly, I started seeing everything differently. My friends, my coworkers, even my own family. I wasn't surrounded by people who valued me. I was surrounded by people who depended on me, and those are not the same thing. Let me tell you about my friend Michael. We had known each other for over 30 years. 30. That's not a friendship. That's history. We had been through everything together, or at least that's what I believed. Michael used to call me all the time, needed help with something, advice, money sometimes, a ride, a favor, and I was always there. Always, no hesitation, because that's what good people do, right? They show up. So one day, I decided to do something different. I didn't call him, I didn't text him, I didn't check in, I just stopped. Do you know what happened? Nothing. No call, no message, no, hey, are you okay? Days passed, then weeks, then months, 30 years, and silence, and that's when it hit me. We didn't have a friendship. We had a system. He needed, I provided, and the moment I stopped providing, the relationship disappeared. That one hurt, but not as much as what came next. My daughter, that's a different kind of pain, because when it's your child, you don't question it, you don't measure it, you just give unconditionally, or at least that's what we're told. She used to call me when she needed something, money, help with the kids, emotional support, and I gave it every time without question because that's what a father does. But one day I tried something, the same thing. I stopped reaching out. No calls, no check ins, no just making sure you're okay. I wanted to see if I existed in her world without being useful, and the silence was louder than anything I had ever heard. Weeks went by, then months, and I sat there looking at my phone, realizing something that broke me in a way I can't fully explain. Love should not disappear just because you stopped giving, but sometimes it does. And when it does, you are forced to face a truth that most people spend their entire lives avoiding. Some relationships only exist because of what you do for people, not because of who you are. Now listen to me carefully, because this is where most people make a mistake. They hear this and they become bitter, angry, cold. They say, fine, I won't help anyone anymore. That's not the answer. That's just pain, wearing a different mask. What I did was something much harder. I stopped being a good person, and no, that doesn't mean I became cruel or selfish or uncaring. It means I stopped betraying myself to keep other people comfortable. And that changes everything. There's something you need to understand. And if you miss this, you will repeat the same pattern for the rest of your life. There is a difference between being a good person and being an available person. Most people don't see it. I didn't. For 60 years, I thought they were the same. I thought kindness meant availability, that being a good man meant saying yes, being there, fixing things, carrying weight that wasn't mine. But here's the truth: when you are always available, people stop valuing your presence because it costs them nothing. Think about that. If something is always there, always accessible, always ready, it becomes invisible. That was me, invisible, not because I didn't matter, but because I made myself too easy to access, too easy to use, too easy to overlook. And one day, I asked myself a question that changed everything. What would happen if I stopped saying yes? Not forever, just stopped automatically. The first time it happened, it felt wrong, unnatural. A friend asked me for help, and instead of saying yes, like I always did, I paused and I said, I can't. Silence, that kind of silence, is uncomfortable because people don't expect it. They expect the old version of you, the predictable one, the easy one. And when you break that pattern, they don't know how to react. He said, since when? That question tells you everything. Since when do you have boundaries? Since when do you think about yourself? Since when are you not available? That moment revealed something important. People weren't used to respecting me, they were used to accessing me. And there is a difference, a big one. So I kept going, small steps, small no's, small pauses, and something strange started happening. Some people disappeared quickly, no explanation, no conversation, just gone. At first, that felt like loss, but then I realized it was clarity, because the people who only valued access leave when access is gone. But here's the part that surprised me. Not everyone left. Some people adjusted. They started respecting my time, my space, my energy. They started asking instead of expecting. And for the first time in my life, I wasn't surrounded by people who needed me. I was surrounded by people who chose me. And that is a completely different life. Now listen carefully, because this next part, this is where most people go back. They start setting boundaries and they feel guilty. They feel like they're doing something wrong, like they're hurting people, like they're becoming selfish. I felt it too. That voice in your head that says, this isn't who you are. You're supposed to help. You're supposed to give. But that voice, it's not truth. It's conditioning. It's the version of you that was trained to earn love by sacrificing yourself. And once you see that, you can't unsee it. Now let's talk about the part that almost made me go back. Guilt. Because the moment you stop being the good one, you feel it deep, heavy, uncomfortable. You start questioning yourself. Am I becoming selfish? Am I turning into someone I don't want to be? Am I hurting people? That voice, it gets loud, especially at night, especially when your phone is quiet. And for the first time in years, you are not needed, not called, not depended on, just alone. And that silence, it will test you, because for a long time, your value came from being needed. So when nobody needs you, you start wondering, do I still matter? That question is dangerous, because most people can't sit with it. So they go back, they call, they offer help, they say yes again, not because they want to, but because they don't want to feel that emptiness. I almost did the same. I remember one night very clearly. The house was quiet, too quiet, no messages, no calls, no one asking for anything, and I sat there thinking, what if this is it? What if this is what my life becomes? That fear, it's real, the fear of disappearing, of becoming irrelevant, of not being needed anymore. And I picked up my phone. I was about to call my daughter, just to hear her voice, just to feel like I still mattered. And right before I pressed the button, I stopped, because I realized something. If I make that call, I'm not calling from love, I'm calling from fear. And every relationship built on fear eventually turns into pain. So I put the phone down and I sat with it, the silence, the discomfort, the emptiness, and slowly something unexpected happened. The emptiness wasn't empty, it was space. Space I had never had before. Space that had always been filled with other people's needs, other people's problems, other people's expectations. And now, for the first time in my life, that space was mine. Do you understand what I'm telling you? You're not losing people when you stop overgiving. You're discovering what's left when you stop abandoning yourself. And yes, it feels lonely at first, because you're not used to choosing yourself, but loneliness and peace, they feel very similar in the beginning. Quiet, still, unfamiliar. The difference is what grows inside that space. If you run from it, it stays loneliness. If you stay with it, it becomes peace. And that's the turning point. That's where your life changes. Not when people come back, but when you stop needing them to. After that night, everything changed. Not all at once, not dramatically, but steadily, quietly, the way real change happens. I stopped reaching out just to feel needed. I stopped offering help before it was asked. I stopped saying yes when my body was already tired, and for a while life felt empty. No noise, no urgency, no constant demands, just space. And in that space, I started noticing things, small things, the way the morning felt when I wasn't rushing to fix someone else's problem, the way silence sounded when it wasn't filled with obligation, the way my own thoughts started becoming clearer, stronger, honest. For the first time in decades, I wasn't reacting, I was living. Let me tell you something. Most people will never understand. When you stop being the person everyone depends on, you don't lose your value. You finally discover it because now your time has weight, your presence has meaning, your energy has boundaries, and the people who remain, they treat you differently. Not all of them. Some will still leave, some will still disappear, but the ones who stay, they don't need you. They respect you, and that's the difference, a big one, because need creates pressure, respect creates connection. Now listen carefully, because this is where everything comes together. The day I stopped being a good person was the day I stopped trying to earn love by sacrificing myself. I didn't become cold. I didn't become selfish. I became honest, and honesty changes everything. I started asking myself simple questions. Do I actually want to do this, or am I doing it so someone won't be disappointed? Am I helping because I care, or because I'm afraid of losing the relationship? Am I giving from strength or from fear? And those questions, they don't let you hide. They force you to face yourself, to choose differently. And the more you choose yourself, the more your life begins to feel like yours, not a service, not a responsibility, not a role, a life. Now, here is the truth most people don't want to hear. If someone only stays in your life because you are useful, they were never really there. They were there for access, for comfort, for convenience. And losing that is not a loss. It's clarity, painful clarity, but clarity nonetheless. So let me leave you with this. You don't need to stop being kind. You don't need to stop caring. You don't need to stop helping people. What you need to stop is abandoning yourself to do it, because that is not kindness. That is self neglect, and it comes at a cost, a very high one. Your peace, your energy, your identity, and eventually your life. So if you're watching this right now and something inside you feels uncomfortable, good. That means you recognize it. That means a part of you is ready to change. Start small, say no once, pause before you agree, listen to what you actually feel, not what you think you're supposed to do, and watch what happens. Some people will pull away, let them. Some will stay, watch how they treat you, and you will finally see your life clearly, not through the lens of obligation, but through the lens of truth. The day I stopped being a good person was the day I stopped being invisible, and I would never go back. Now tell me something. Be honest. Have you ever felt this? Have you ever said yes when everything inside you was saying no? Write it in the comments. I read everyone, because the moment you admit it is the moment everything begins to change.